In a previous video, I highlighted the differences between the MetaQuest 3 and the 3S, and there was some opinion baked into that video, but more or less it was an attempt to compare side by side those headsets, the resolution, the weight. And ultimately, I was trying to answer this question: who is this for? Now, I'm focusing on this kind of a video a second time, largely because we're coming into Christmas. If someone's going to buy a headset, 90% of them are going to buy right now. And so it's relevant. And so this video is not going to be a repeat. I'm not going to tell you that this person might want a Quest 3, whereas this other person might want a Quest 3S. That's true, but if you want to learn more about that, go watch that video. I'll link it down below. Instead, I'm going to attack this from the position of a father who has kids, with the understanding that the MetaQuest 3S is $200 cheaper than the MetaQuest 3. And as a result, it's going to sell great this holiday season. You might not be buying a MetaQuest 3S, but the person next to you is. And so if you have a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old kid in your life that you want to get a headset for, you're probably going to be getting this headset. And so this video is telling you why you should, why it's a good idea, and what to expect. Now, the MetaQuest 3S comes with a resolution of 1832 by 1920. And if you've ever owned a MetaQuest 2, it's the exact same. It has a refresh rate of 90 to 120 hertz. It has a field of view that's 96 degrees horizontal and 90 degrees vertical. But measuring something like that is difficult. Depending on the shape of your face and how tight against your head it is, people will report different experiences. I put that headset on. I thought it was pretty decent, and it can certainly be improved upon by buying third-party facial interfaces. You have a choice between 128 and 256 gigs. And the differences between those two headsets is going to be $299 versus $399. So it's an extra $100. Do you need that extra storage? Well, it depends. What are you going to be doing with the headset? Something like Gorilla Tag is less than half a gig. Beat Saber is 1.5 gigs. A lot of these games you can find for 1, 2, 3, 4 gigabytes. And so in that case, you could easily average that out to having space for 40 games. Of course, you're not going to be sticking to that. Plenty of other games are going to take up 10 gigs, 15 gigs. Something like Behemoth can take up quite a bit of space. What are you going to be playing? And when you're playing, are you going to be screen grabbing? Are you going to be recording? If you're playing Beat Saber, are you going to be uploading custom music? And you can't forget that a chunk of that 128 gigs that comes with the MetaQuest 3 is already taken up by the operating system itself. So if you keep it low and you're playing these more simplistic games and you have your expectations in check, 128 gigs will do you just fine. But if you're going to be playing Behemoth and Batman Arkham Shadow and Alien Rogue Incursion when it comes, and those are your titles, and you're not interested in Synth Riders and VR chat, well, suddenly you found yourself in a position where the most that you could hope to install at one time, Batman Arkham Shadow, is 20 gigabytes. Behemoth is 20 gigabytes. Saints and Sinners 2 is under 15 gigs. And if these are the kind of titles that you want to play, then you're not going to get any more than 4 or 5 games installed. In which case, you're up to the 256 gig for $399. Now, the lenses that come with the MetaQuest 3S are Fresnel lenses. They differ from pancake lenses. They're slightly heavier. The sweet spot is more in the middle. There's more bleeding and God rays. But these are problems I'm listing because they're known issues, and the pancake lens was the answer to it. But using the Fresnel lens, it's not the end of the world. It's still a good experience. For a long time, we used the MetaQuest 2 and we had a good time. But there is a thing you must be aware of where that headset has to be perfect on your head or your perspective becomes blurred. And if what you're looking at has a bright object in it, then it'll kind of shine these God rays, but essentially beams of light that kind of stretch the circumference of the lenses. It's a bummer. They make better lenses, but for the price of the MetaQuest 3S, it's not a deal breaker. What matters most is what you're playing, how immersed you are in it, and depending on those circumstances, you can overcome a lot of stuff. Now, the facial interface that comes with the MetaQuest 3S, I actually really like. I think it's very comfortable. But if you're interested in increasing that field of view like I mentioned, I'll link below a couple facial interfaces that you might want to try. The battery life on the MetaQuest 3 gets you about 2.5 hours of gameplay. But that goes hand in hand with another issue regarding the MetaQuest 3. The head strap is terrible. It's the worst strap ever made, and it's a big part of the reason why this headset you're about to buy is so affordable. But getting a nice head strap does not have to cost an extra $100. And you may find that when you jump into a game, 2.5 hours is all you need. So going for a battery head strap may not be necessary. I highly recommend it. I think you should get one. I have one linked down below that is my very favorite. It's more expensive, but below that I'll put another link that is decent, it's well made, and it doesn't break the bank. Whatever you do, whatever route you take, you cannot use the stock strap. I would rather put underwear on my head and go walking blindly through the mall. That would be a more comfortable experience. Sorry. And while I have you here, quick breakaway. I hope you guys subscribe to this channel. I appreciate you being here. It means a lot to me when you guys subscribe and like the video, and it helps the algorithm. And while I'm on a roll, I'm going to tell you that I have links down below for the MetaQuest 3 and 3S, whichever you decide on. And if you use that link, you'll get $60 Quest cash, which is a bunch of free games. I hope you guys will use it. It supports my channel, and I can't wait for you to join us inside VR. Back to it. Now, I just want to reiterate, I want to remind you that this is not to say that you should not get the Quest 3. The Quest 3 is the better headset. But I'm talking to people who are bent on the MetaQuest 3S because of financial constraints, because it's for a child, because it's for someone who's never been in VR. So that's who I'm talking to. And every one of those reasons is valid. And anyone in the comments who says, don't get this, don't listen to them, get the 3, it's better. Honestly, they can be ignored. There are plenty of reasons to get a MetaQuest 3S over a Quest, and I stand by it when I say that it depends on the experience you're having, and that while the resolution is lesser than the MetaQuest 3, when you're in the right game, it doesn't matter at all. Now, something that the MetaQuest 3S has that the Quest 3 does not, they've implemented IR lights so that you can actually use hand tracking in the dark. The Quest 3 doesn't have that, but I fully expect that every headset moving forward will, because it's extremely helpful. The MetaQuest 3S does not have pins on the undercarriage of the headset, so you cannot use the official MetaQuest dock with it. But they do sell a dock that supports both controllers, so you simply drop them on and they charge. So, you know, solutions. A dock that I've found that I really like with the MetaQuest 3S is the Kiwi Design dock, specifically because I have used a lot of docks that want you to take a cable and plug it into the side, and it's basically an aesthetic thing where you drop the headset on so that when you have people inside your cluttered, dirty room, they can be impressed by your headset and how it's sitting on a glowing stand. But I want something practical, and so the Kiwi Design dock offers an actual mounting solution. They include this little dongle. I'll show some footage here. And it's got a female port on the outside of it so that when you plug it in, there's this length of upright cable so that when you drop your headset on it, it just connects with it. It's convenient, it's inexpensive. That's not going to be for everyone. Some people are just going to want the bare bones MetaQuest 3S. Nothing fancy, no controller dock, stick to the 128 gigs, and there's nothing wrong with that. Especially if it's for a kid in your life who wants to try VR for the first time. Now, it's not hard making a video like this because I've used the Quest 3S before, and I've used the MetaQuest 3 before. And while I made a video previously kind of pitting the two against each other and comparing them side by side, I'll probably make a video for the MetaQuest 3 just like this. Reasons to get it and reasons to leave the Quest 3S alone. Again, this video is just meant for those who are locked in and they know what they want. And so having heard all this, I hope that it's of use to you. Please subscribe, like this video, and if you have questions that I didn't answer here, I'm sure there's a few, hit me up in the comments and I'll try to answer it there. Truthfully, I benefit from you guys using those links. It supports my channel and I appreciate it. But more than anything, I just want to get people into VR. You've been watching Bringhurst VR. Godspeed.